Hello there, welcome to my channel. I'm Angela from artorai.co.uk. One thing I've never been able to get right since I first started crafting are shaker cards. I think I finally hit on a very simple method to make one, but I will show you my initial attempts, so don't hold your breath for anything amazing. I always like to show you my fails first. So this was the very first one I ever made. I know it's terrible. You can see the foam sticking right out, and and the reason I had to put a ridiculous bow there was because I split the card. So yeah, but the one thing I do like is the acetate that I have is printable, so I can print on the like a pattern or a picture or a scene on the acetate if I wanted to. So I just did a rose on there. This was just my very first attempt to see if I could actually do it, and it kind of worked. This was my second attempt, quite a few mistakes on this one. The sequins I used in this don't really match the style of the card, but I blended the background. It should have been the other way around really, because I wanted it to be like an outdoor scene. And I did make the mistake, instead of cutting out some more trees and putting them in the back, I used a stamp with white ink, and now that looks like a cross between winter and summer, which didn't work out right. But I didn't mind this too much, you know, it was okay. It was my second attempt. So my third attempt I thought would go a bit better, but as you can see it didn't really. So for a start, this is on completely crooked. All of the sequins are sticking to the foam inside. But the biggest mistake of all, I don't know if you can see all of that, I put it through the embossing machine, or the die cutting machine, when the glue was still wet, and it just oozed out everywhere. I spent ages scrubbing my cutting plates with alcohol and everything. It was a nightmare. But all of these things, all of these mistakes can be rectified. So I am going to make another one of these, but I'm going to use a square aperture instead of a round one. So these are the supplies I'm going to be using. I did, excuse me, reach for this. This is about the cheapest foam you can get. And it's fine, it works alright, but it looks cheap, it feels cheap. And when you cut it, these are the scissors I use for cutting sticky stuff. And you just get up to the eyes, you know, it's a real nightmare. So what I did was get some greaseproof paper, put a few strips of that cheap foam tape on here, and now that's really good because, why did I put these scissors away? Because now not only can you cut it when it's on the greaseproof without ruining your scissors so much, it peels off very easily, and if I wanted to, I could cut one of these in half, which is what I'm going to do to show you how simple it is. So if I just wanted to use thin strips, then I can just cut it like that, and it hasn't damaged my scissors at all. There's a tiny little bit of glue on there, which is why I do use scissors specifically set aside for cutting sticky stuff. But I shall clean that later with a bit of alcohol on just on a tissue really, or a piece of kitchen towel, and it cleans off no problem. Now I'm using, for the card base, I'm going to use this 300 GSM cardstock. It's really thick, it's really good for cards. This is a scrap off yesterday, but the paper I used was this classic card teal blue from Tonic Studios, which is really, really nice. But like I said, I have plenty of scraps left over from yesterday's attempt. This was actually taken from Tonic Studios Premium Card Making Magazine. It was on offer ages and ages ago, and inside not only does it give you card making examples you can use, but it also gives you sort of paper packs and little sentiments and things like that. It's not very thick, the paper, but it was fine for what I was using it for. And also they're the square nesting dies that I'm going to use, and I nearly lost my acetate there. My acetate, one side is really rough, that's the side you would print on, but I'm not going to do that for this. I'm just going to have to try and put it somewhere where I don't lose it. That won't be the first time. I got some of these, I think it was from Temu. like a load of little punches, tiny little mini punches that I'm trying to throw everywhere. And one of them was a star, a little flower. So I just cut out some gold. I've got some beautiful gold paper that I got in a Crafters, I think it was a Crafters Companion mystery bag the other week. And I also have these, which is also a Crafters Companion, just some sequins that I've had for a long time, but I've never really used them because I haven't really made shaker cards before. But I'm going to use them for this anyway. So I'm going to put all of these to one side, and I'm first of all going to cut my card base. Sorry, I forgot to show you the sentiment I'm going to be using. It's a different one. This one is thank you so much, both from Crafters Companion. This one is sent with love. I do quite like the large sentiment on there, but you don't have to do that. You can put the sentiment anywhere you like, as large as you like. It's entirely up to you, but I'm going to use that one anyway. Right, this is the card base I'm going to use. It's 4 by 5.5. Just cut a little bit off there to make it exactly 4. Yeah, 4 by 5.5. I think that's quite a nice size. And I want this to be 1/4 inch smaller. And this piece I'm going to cut 1/4 inch smaller than that, but it's very thin, and I've said on numerous videos I've actually damaged the channel on this, and it won't cut thin paper anymore. So I'm going to use my trimmer. So this needs to be 3.5 by 5. I'll cut this jaggedy bit off first. So 5 by 3.5. Put this away before I put something I shouldn't. So now what we have are all the pieces that we need to make the shaker card. So that's going to go like that. I'm going to take my, let me get rid of these scraps. These can obviously be used for something else. Don't waste anything if you can help it, but don't save every tiny little bit or you'll go mad. So you could use any nesting dies, any shape, any size if you wanted. I'm going to use one that I think that fits on quite nicely. So that's going to be cut out of the top. That's going to be cut out of the bottom. So I'll end up with a little border sort of like that around there. Only square. So this has to be put on fairly accurately. So let me do this. Sorry, wrong piece. Large piece first. Try and get it kind of in the middle. Unfortunately this is too wide to fit through my craft buddy, I think. I don't know. Yes, it's too wide to fit through my craft buddy. Right, now the mistake I made the last time was gluing that onto there and then putting it through the die cutting machine there again, which was really bad idea because glue just went everywhere. So I'm going to stick this together with a little bit of tape for now, so I can try and get it as even as possible. Then I'll put that in there again as evenly as possible. It should be okay. I have to do it like this because I can't get anything straight. It's ridiculous. Right, now I can put that through. Big shot. Doesn't look quite even, but it's just for demonstration purposes. I'm certainly not going to cry about it if it doesn't turn out perfectly. I'd be very surprised if it did actually. So I have to point out that there are so many different ways to make shaker cards, so many different kinds you can make. So if this is something you would like to have a go at, then just do a search for all the different kinds you can do. This is just the simplest that I have been able to manage myself. So I don't know what that's doing on there. That should be covered up with this. So now we can glue that onto there, and it should be fairly even all the way around. Of course I'm going to use my Collall glue, especially because this paper is so very thin, because this glue does not warp or buckle any paper or card. It's fantastic, especially for thin paper like this. And it takes a little while to dry, so you have plenty of time to maneuver everything around so you can get it more or less right. That looks much better than that last hot mess that I did. Right, put that away. So that's the aperture. Now if you want to leave that blank, that is entirely up to you, but you can stamp in there, you can add any decorations that you want in there. On the last one I had put the scrap piece that was cut from there, but I don't think I'll do that this time. I think I will leave it white. I think it looks quite nice. So what we need to do now is put the acetate, and I knew I would lose it, so that needs to be trimmed down to match. That should be okay. I don't know if you can see that. That hasn't cut straight at all, but it doesn't matter. That is just for putting behind the aperture there. So to hold that in place, we need to put some tearing tape around there. This is 1/4 inch tape, I think. Yeah. Whenever I put tearing tape or double-sided sticky tape on anything, I always squash it down with my bone folder. It just gets it right into those fibres, makes it stick a lot better, and then it's easier to peel off the back. Right, so I'm going to take all of these off. It doesn't matter if it's not straight. Turn to the end of the world. Give that a good squash. Okay, so now we have our acetate in. So I'm going to tidy up before I do anything else. It'll drive me crazy, and then I'll be back. This is the bit that always gets me, because we now have to put either a single layer of foam or a double layer of foam. I'm just going to do a single for this video because putting double on is a bit of a nightmare. So what you can do, it's easy when it's I should have showed you the circle actually, because when it's a square you can just put it on like that, making sure there are no gaps. But for a circle one, what I would do for any other shape is peel off this, because it becomes much easier to put down. I should have shown you the circle one, shouldn't I? Never mind. So what we're going to do, this should peel off nicely. Hang on, make sure that we're going to get it right. It has to be as close to the edge as possible without actually being able to be seen from the other side. And just making sure you can still cut through the parchment paper so you don't completely ruin your scissors. So you can see it a little bit when you do that, but that's no big deal. And you have to make sure that there are absolutely no gaps between, or else all of the sequins will fall out, and that would not be good. Because basically you don't want to be able to see it from there without really looking hard, so that's okay. So now what we need to do is make sure that we have foam on these parts, so it doesn't, if you put it on just like that, it's going to depress like that, and it's not going to look great. So we do need foam on the rest of it as well. Looks awful. I'm terrible with fiddly jobs like this, so I'm now going to take all of these off. It's going to look really bad from the front, but never mind. You'll probably be able to, in fact I know for a fact you can find videos out there that are going to be much better than this one, but this is just literally the very basics of making one of these shaker cards. Okay, now the next mistake that I've made, I should have, when that was cut out, I should have put it on there, and before I put the acetate on, I should have drawn a square there, the inside of there, so I could see where to put all of the sequins. I'm just going to have to guess. That was terrible of me. I mean, you can, if you want, put your sequins on there and then take a chance and put the card on top, but no. So just demonstrate that again. Suppose on this is your topper before you've put the acetate and the foam on. Get a pencil, draw lightly around the inside onto your white card, and that'll be where you put all your sequins and things, but I didn't do that, so I'm just going to have to try and guess. I'm not going to put a load in, I just wanted to show you the process, that's all. And just keep checking it like that, so it's another way you can do it. Like I say, I'm not going to put a ton of these in. I'm not with it today. What I also should have done is not removed the top of these yet, because the sequins do have a habit of getting stuck inside here. So what I'm going to do is use my anti-static bag, just get the powder on if I can, and just put it around the inside there. I don't know if this is going to work, but I have seen other people do it. It might just help take away some of that stickiness. Like I said, whether or not it will work is a different matter. I'm just going to make sure that that's okay. As I said, you can put 2 layers of tape on, it will give you a much deeper aperture. Okay, that seems to have gone a little bit better. Right, so that is your basic shaker card, and it doesn't look as though that powder worked. Never mind, this is just to show you how to do it. Like I said, this is the way that I found easier to do it, put it that way. There are many different ways to do it, as I've said, so if you want to look at more professional videos, then just do a search on YouTube. There are plenty out there. Right, so now I'm going to do the sentiment. You can absolutely decorate this how you want, of course. So on this one I did a white background with a blue sentiment. I think I'll change it up a bit and have a blue background with a white sentiment. See how that goes. So background is, it's called a shadow, isn't it? Shadow dye. Oh my goodness. Oh, right. Will that fit on there? No. Oh, this is going to be rather big. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to look on there. What should we do? Should we just go for it and see what it looks like? We might as well. I can always change up the sentiment if it doesn't look right. Oh, that scrap is just big enough. So that's the shadow. I will cut out the sentiment. Guess you could use that as a stencil, couldn't you? If you keep all the little bits to fit inside it, that would look nice. Right, where's my pokey tool? Yeah, so the sentiments cut off in bits. You've got to kind of figure out where to fit them. Okay, and this is going to be very fiddly. Right, I'll just get my glue, my Collall glue I've put in this little bottle, and my reverse tweezers. So I know where it goes, it's just a matter of getting it stuck down now. So I'll speed this up because it is quite tedious. Wow, that was really fiddly. I suppose what you could do is cut out the sentiment with a double-sided sticky sheet. That would be good as well, but it was okay. At least with the glue, the liquid glue, you have a couple of seconds to get it into place. So what I did with this one, you can probably see, is I cut out another piece of the background just to give it a bit of dimension. So could I do that on there? I'm not sure what that's going to... Do you know, I don't even like that now. And there's your basic shaker card. Not fabulous, could have done with a lot more sequins in there, but because I didn't know how this was going to turn out, I didn't really want to waste any more. But if you were making one of these for a child, I would honestly be very careful about using solid sequins. Make sure nothing can escape. As you can see, nothing can escape from there. Make something nice of the background. You could make a little scene or some animals, some flowers, anything like that. You could even, if you had a smaller sentiment, you could have flowers going round like that, like die cut flowers. You can more or less do what you wanted with them. But I just wanted to show you how to make a basic shaker card, because I have struggled for months. Because I have to admit, practical things don't come that easy to me. So I have practiced, but this is the easiest for me that I have seen. I mean, you don't have to have a giant sentiment on the front, of course. You don't have to do anything like that. You could even have the sentiment a bit further up if you wanted. But that's basically it. So I just wanted to someone who struggles with shaker cards, as I have, I just wanted to show you that it is quite simple. There is a base, this is the very basics. Have a look around, see what else there is out there, and just practice. Practice makes perfect. So I might do another one at a later date, but I'm not that keen on making them, to be honest. I find them like really fiddly, but they do look nice, and I know who will like this one, so I'm going to give it to them. But anyway, whatever the reason you've stopped by, I really appreciate the fact that you did, that you've given me a portion of your day. Means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for that. I really hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye now.